and horizontal lines are linear equations too. Here's a horizontal line. Let's focus on those points. The coordinates of the points look like, here we have -2, -2, and -1, -2, and this one is at 0, -2. See a pattern? And then we have 1, -2, and 2, -2. Let's take two of those and find the slope. It doesn't matter which two. How about the ones that are furthest apart? These two. So my slope formula, remember, is change in y over change in x. So let's find the difference between our y coordinates. Looks like -2 minus -2. And let's say I'm going this direction. And then in the x coordinates, it would be -2 minus 2. Well, in the top, I just get 0. And it doesn't really matter what the denominator is, but it looks like it's -4. Any fraction that has 0 in the top like this is equal to 0. Now the equation has to do with all these coordinates that are the same. They're all the y coordinates, right? So the x coordinates can be anything, but the y coordinates are always -2. And that's the equation of the horizontal line. Y equals whatever that number is that the horizontal line crosses through on the y-axis. Now some people get confused because the horizontal axis is x, but this is parallel to that. This crosses over the y-axis, and that's where the equation comes from. Let's look at a vertical line. So here's a vertical line, and we see a similar pattern in the points. We've got 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 0, 3, -1, and 3, -2. So these all have the same x coordinate, right? That's the difference. So the equation for these is going to be x equals 3, because x equals 3 every time. Let's look at the slope. We could pick any two points. How about these two? And let's go in this direction. So for change in y over change in x, we get 1 minus -2 over 3 minus 3. So in the top it turns into 3, and the bottom is 0. This does not reduce to 0. This is an undefined amount. This is what you write instead of a numeric answer whenever you get a fraction over 0. Remember, 3 over 0 is like asking the question, how many times does 0 go into 3? Well, you can multiply 0 by things all day long, and it's never going to get anywhere close to 3, and that's why this is an undefined amount. So the slope of every vertical line is undefined, and the equation is x equals the number that it passes through right here on the x-axis. And it's also the x-coordinate that all the points share. Now let's find some equations when we don't have a graph to look at. So in the first example, the slope is 0, so we know that this horizontal line. And horizontal lines have equations that look like y equals that shared y-coordinate that they all have. So you really just need to look at the y-coordinate. That's the equation. If you wanted to, you could write it in point-slope form like this. Y minus 7 equals 0 times x minus 5. But what would that turn into? Y minus 7 is 0. And if you add 7 to the other side, it turns into y equals 7, which is what we had before. How about that second example? Slope is undefined, so that means this is a vertical line. And vertical lines all look like x equals whatever that shared x value is. So just look at the x-coordinate and you've got it. It's -2. Done. See how easy that is? And there is your quick introduction to vertical and horizontal lines.